So to go to the movies back when you were young was 10 cents?
Excuse me?
It was only 10 cents to go to the movie theater? And you got to see were they black
Two
and
movies.
two movies for 10 cents?
Yeah. And a news, because that was the only thing. We had a news, we had there would used to be a cartoon. And sometimes they would give away dishes on certain days. If you went to the movies on certain days, the people got a set of dishes one each day. Each time they went, they got one dish. That was, 10 cents.
Wow, nowadays, you know how much it is to go to the movie nowadays, Marilyn?
It's ridiculous.
It's $20 to $25.
That's ridiculous.
And what's crazy nowadays, Marilyn, at the movies, is you go to the movies, it's like a recliner chair, like one of these here.
Right.
You can prop your feet up, and you order your menu before you go in, and they'll bring you your dinner and your drink. If you want a mixed drink, you can have a mixed drink. It's like...
They're very nice. But what about the people who can't afford that?
Oh, well, no, you can still just go, but still, oh, yeah, $20 is still a lot. Like, I wanted to go see a movie last night. I couldn't afford it.
Right.
I mean, $20 is $20. I'd rather spend $20 I needed on food and stuff.
And we are fortunate in that we have the TV.
Yeah, and nowadays you can watch a million things.
Right, so...
Because when you were little,
was
TV was nothing, right?
No TV. We had a radio, and they used to do radio shows,
And what was your favorite radio show?
The Shadow.
The Shadow. What was it? Like a detective show?
It was like
or a superhero.
Yeah, sort of like that. It was The Shadow Knows. Only the Shadow Knows.
And it was just someone reading out of a book, maybe, or something like that?
There were actors, but they were just voices, and obviously. It was, in a way, it could be scarier.
Yeah, because imagination's so much better than what someone would reenact.
And even with sexy, it was much like the movies at the beginning. There was no visual. There was no.
Oh, so if there was like a kissing moment or something.
The kissing was okay, but there was no, anything past that.
Graphic, like.
No, you had to have twin beds. You couldn't show full,
Oh yeah, and because nowadays it's like porn.
If there were, right, and the twin beds, you had to have one foot on the floor.
If you were two people were in one bed.
You couldn't show them in one bed.
Oh wow.
Two beds.
Oh wow.
Now, and even the love scenes, ended at a certain point. Now they're so graphic. It was really it was sexier in your own mind.
Right. Just like reading a sexy love novel.
Yes.
Wow.
Your imagination is, I don't know about you, but I don't see any movies that are really that sexy. I don't care what they're doing. It's like, really?
No, yeah, you're right. They might show a boob or something and like,
they
that
show everything now.
I know, you said something a while back. What did you say a while back?
They showed a guy's cock, for God's sake.
God. I know. When I walked, because I just came home and you're like, I can't believe what they're showing on TV.
I mean, I don't care, but it's like, really?
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's hilarious.
And kids,
Kids don't need to be objected to that stuff.
No, but they say,
even walking through a living room, they don't need to look down and see that.
No, they don't.
That needs to be behind closed doors.
It's obscene.
Did they have dirty movies back in your day?
I don't recall any dirty. I wouldn't have been aware of it, but I don't think so. I mean, there certainly weren't in theaters.
What else? What other questions? What other things you can tell me about?
When I first got married, they used to have a whole bunch of theaters that showed dirty movies. What were they called? They had a certain name anyway. And they showed pornography. My husband and I went one time just to settle to see it. It was boring. All these guys sitting in the front row, you know.
That would have been weird. Wouldn't that? Was that weird? You were just like,
very weird.
you're like, I'm out of here.
Oh, it was very weird. Certainly not sexually stimulating at all. So it was interesting.
So did they have? Okay, so one of the movies they were black and white. Yeah, when they.
Well, this was after I was married, so they were in color.
Okay.
You know.
You had a lot of like singing, dancing movies.
Well, the regular movies were wonderful.
Because you were around Frank Sinatra. Like, no, he was later.
No, Sinatra, Frank's. I was in the audience in Sunset Boulevard, where the CBS radio was. That whole section on Sunset and Highland. It wasn't Highland, Sunset and Sunset. Anyway, and we used to go. My friends and I would go when they did the movie. You know, they went
the premiere.
The show.
Yeah.
So and Frank Sinatra was one of the people we watched, and they used to give us change to throw at him.
What?
That was a big thing. You know, girls threw money at Sinatra.
Change?
They gave us nickels and dimes.
Could you imagine getting banged in the head with a dime or nickel?
Well, it was up. It would be pretty hard to do because he was on the stage and we were an audience.
That would suck to lean down and pick that stuff up. You know how a dancer picks up dollar bills and stuff. Dollar bills are a little easy, but dimes and nickels, man. I mean, no, that was a lot more back then.
It was a publicity stuff.
Okay.
And the girls screamed and screamed. You know, that was part of it.
Oh my goodness. That's pretty neat, though. You know, just different times.
It was different.
Because you went to Hollywood a lot back when you came out here.
I went to Hollywood High School.
I know. I know. That's where the skateboard 15 stair is. In your picture with what's the guy that just passed away?
Right. Yeah. Whoever.
The guy that made different strokes
right.
And who's the Archie Bunker show?
But see, living in Los Angeles, honey, it was not unusual.
Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't see a celebrity at some point,
it would have been weird.
You hadn't left your house.
Yeah, because it was so
wasn't
common.
As big. So Hollywood Boulevard was like Beverly Hills. You know, now of course it's junk, but at that time, and it was not unusual. But we had a custom. It was understood that you would not approach celebrities in public.
And nowadays, they're eating dinner with family, and they get. Can I take pictures here? You know, people come and interrupt.
It was courteous.
Yeah.
You know, like, you could walk down the street and not be bothered.
Yeah. Yeah. Nowadays, that's paparazzi. They gave them too many laws. Like they gave them too many rights because that invades their privacy.
They lost a lot of niceness.
Yeah, and the paparazzi are rude people, and they invade people's privacy. They're climbing into people's yards, and it's ridiculous. I think that's why. Look how many celebrities.
Again, see, if you look at the whole picture, what are we really talking about? Always is corruption.
Yeah.
Money corrupts.
Money corrupts. That's right. I guess.
The love of money corrupts.
The love of money. That's better. I like that one better. Yes.
But that's what they'll do anything. I made money. Who was it? I forget these names. Well, no actor. Anyway, I was in a position where I knew someone, and he was separated from his wife, and his other actress was moving in with him, and nobody knew it. And I had heard it from somebody, and I called, what's that newspaper that all the garbage is in?
Enquirer?
The Enquirer. I got paid.
Oh, you giving him information?
I told her.
You did, you sneaky turkey.
Well, no, but see, it wasn't bad. See, I just told her that she was going to move in.
No, you knew top secret information. That's cool.
Right. They were there. I think I got $120 or something.
That's good back then.
Good picture.
Wow. Yeah, they want to know all that sneaky sneaky stuff.
It's such a different world. But I'm not saying it was better. It's just different.
It has changed a lot.
Oh God, yes.
But it's neat. I love to hear.
It was gentler. The world was gentler. You know, there wasn't the craziness that we have obviously here. People were nicer, and there weren't that many.
There weren't that many what? Oh, people.
None of this whole end of the valley, honey, wasn't here. You had Hollywood. Hollywood was great. West Hollywood was completely gay, which it still is. But there were all kinds of places. What did they used to call them? Let's see, it was the places you went with your girlfriend, or you know, they were lunch and dinner, but they were fancy.
I don't know.
Anyway, it was something. There were a whole bunch of them. A combo was one of them, and 2 or 3 others. It's very, very great.
So, what did you like when you came out here from New York?
Lived in Hollywood, which was beautiful.
You went to Hollywood, and you just being in Hollywood, you were around the celebrity.
Not where we were. When I went to high school, we used to walk, Hollywood Boulevard, on the way home from school and stuff. Or we went there to shop, or we went there to just hang out. And there was also a big place called the Palladium. I think the Palladium may still be there, I'm not sure. But that was for just dancing. And so on the weekends, everybody would go there and dance. And across the street was another place that also had dancing.
And so, like when you started going out, like just going to high school, you met people, huh?
Sure.
And like that's how you met all the stars, you know.
And I didn't meet them in it. I met them later in my life. After I got a divorce. I might have met a few, but after I got a divorce, I went to work for a woman who was a manager of actors and actresses. And she was a crazy lady, wonderful, wonderful person. And they used to just hang out. You never knew who was going to be there. She had an apartment on Sunset Boulevard, above it in the hills, and a great big place. And her husband had been a chef, and so he would start somewhere, he'd get up, walk to the kitchen, and start cooking, and the place would be filled with all different people with nothing to do, would show up and hang out, and some of her people would, like Mary Martin was her client, so I got to know her real well. I still have a picture of her.
When did you start doing readings?
Not until after that. And I was also always into that myself, but I didn't do it for a living.
I was going to say, because, like, you're really good, you have people you've had for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
Like,
I talked to one today that, years. I can't imagine how many years. And and Julie called me today. I had read, she was in Hawaii with her friend Kenny, who's gay. Evidently, he's a very good-looking guy, very, very nice. And he wanted a reading, so I read for him the other day.
Oh, nice.
And he, sweet guy, nice guy. And he was looking for a new relationship, and I told him he had one coming up. And so Julie called me yesterday. She told me that Kenny couldn't believe it, but he did find a new lover.
That's so cool.
So he was very,
And he was like, like you gave him a little heads up. It's coming.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
How many years have you been doing that, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, let's see. When did I start? Let's see, I was 65. Probably when I was about 66. I was just looking for, I was collecting unemployment, not unemployment, but Social Security, but it wasn't enough to live on. So I was looking for something to do. And life has a pattern. See, nothing happens by accident. We had a big earthquake here in LA.
94.
94, maybe it was before. It's the big one. And we didn't get touched at all. We was over in West Hills, and our place didn't get touched at all. And we lost one jar of spaghetti sauce.
And so many people lost millions.
And everybody else, their showers, their water was off. So people were coming to our house to shower because they didn't have any hot water. And one of the people who came was a friend of Robin's, a guy, he was a lawyer, and he brought his roommate, who was a reader. And so at that time, I stopped. Well, the company that we were working for, they went under, and so I was looking for something else to do. And she said she knew that I read, for fun, and she said, "Why don't you do that?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know how to do that." She says, "You can do that." So I did.
And she turned you on to a.
She just, she gave me the name of a couple places, and I got hired.
And you've been doing that for how long was this? Oh, since 94.
A long time. I was about 66. So I'm 86. So.
Yeah. So it's 20. It's been 20.
30,
yeah.
30 years.
30 years. Yeah. It's Devin's almost 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was back then because I came here after the year after the earthquake.
Right.
So yeah, it was the 94 one, the big one. So that's neat, Marilyn.
Anyway.
Later in your life, look at that. You had a career that starting later in life.
But that's the way it's going to be. I mean, people are not going to be retired at 65 anymore.
Oh no, you can't survive off retirement now. They've taken so much away.
Well, it's just that people are more able.
Yeah, that's true.
65 used to be old.
Yeah, now people are. Look at you. You're 96 and can go run a marathon.
I mean, just even in general, people are living longer. I don't know what it is, but they're, no. I don't know anybody who's 65 who's running around with that. How old is your mother?
60. She's 15 years older than me. 65.
Do you think your mother's old?
No, it's so weird, but she is older, but she's not.
No.
I still think I'm a kid, but if I'm 50 years old almost.
Right, but it used to be 65, you were done.
Wow. Yeah, because I see people 80 years old at the grocery store bagging groceries.
Sure. Julie is like 66.
And she travels all over the place.
And she's on the move. And creating and making more money, and I mean, ain't nothing old about her, and she's very beautiful.
Wow, that's so neat.
So, but it's just that the world is changing. 65 is not old anymore. I'm sure at some point they're going to raise that for their reason. That was a thing. One of the reasons they did it, though, was to have people retire because then other people could have jobs.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, I get that.
But see, none of that was in place until Franklin Roosevelt became president. There was nothing. You had no backup.
Oh, since before Franklin.
You just worked until you died.
Now you have retirement.
You know,
But they're trying to take all that stuff
and
away.
there was no money that you were going to get. You had no choice. You would have to live with your children.
Wow. I didn't think of that.
All the things that we can't take for granted, any kind of help that we get from the country or the city or the state was not there. You know, people, it was the depression. People were standing in soup lines. They had no unemployment insurance. There was no such thing.
Wow.
But when Roosevelt came along, he was very smart. He did something that they changed, which they shouldn't have. He created a situation. The WPA was called Work People's something or other, and people collected a salary, but they had to work. And
Oh.
so he used those people to build new roads and to build it. They all worked. But when they stopped working and collecting, they lost not it was not good for them. They lost their self-esteem.
Right.
Nobody wants to be on the dole.
No. You want to stay
And
happy.
then it became generation after generation. I mean, there have been people 3 or 4 generations have been collecting, from the government. But it's not good for them.
No, they need to make a name for themselves.
But I remember my aunt. She used to serve lunch at the schools. That was her job, and she got paid on the WPA.
That's neat. So you'd work for the government, kinda.
But you see, but people take for granted that we have so much backup stuff now. There was none. You got sick and you were dead.
Oh, you mean no money, no nothing.
No.
There's not no sick days when you're sick back then, huh?
Nothing, nada.
My goodness. That's so cool.
So in a lot of ways, the world's in a better place. But of course, too, it wasn't as crowded.
Now we're way crowded.
Wasn't it? I don't know how that's going to work. I don't have anything against people coming here. I just don't know where everybody's going to be going.
Well, they need to start making that thing up.
Take care of the situation.
They need to stop the border because they're just letting a whole single file line come in Mexico.
It was the American way, and I understand that.
But they need to start issuing Social Security cards and everything. They need to do it the right way, not just let them walk over. And they're sending them to New York, Manhattan. They're just dumping busloads of people that don't even speak English off there.
Well, most of the people who come to this country, honey, don't speak English.
Yeah, true. But a lot of them do because they've planned to come here. But who knows?
It's just gotten out of hand.
Yep.